Professional wrestling gave fans heroes to worship and villains to boo. But a smaller, stranger list of performers did something rarer. They made grown adults uneasy about turning off the lights. Not annoyed, genuinely unsettled. Across 4 decades, WWE built entire eras around men who looked less like athletes and more like nightmares handed a contract and a theme song. A few were almost as intense backstage as they were on camera. Others turned out to be soft-spoken family men who happened to be brilliant at pretending otherwise. Some of these stories end in real triumph. One ends far too soon, and it will land hard even if you already know it's coming. This isn't a list built on face paint and jump scares. It's about the men underneath the makeup, why WWE turned them into monsters, and what happened once the cameras stopped rolling. Stay until the end because the man at number 1 still clocks in for work, just not inside a ring. Number 7 built an entire career on eating live worms in front of a paying audience. Marty Wright debuted as the Boogeyman in 2005, a gravel-voiced predator in body paint who ambushed wrestlers mid-entrance instead of wrestling clean matches. WWE never gave him a world title, and that was never the point. His job was psychological chaos in 30-second bursts, working so well that at WrestleMania 22 in 2006, he faced JBL simply because crowds wanted the nightmare up close. His run at the top barely lasted 2 years, yet years later, he still shows up at conventions, worms and all, proof that being genuinely creepy is its own kind of job security. Number 6 is Charles Wright, who spent the early 90s as Papa Shango, a voodoo priest who cursed opponents and, in a 1992 storyline, made the Ultimate Warrior vomit black liquid mid-match. Shango never got the push the concept deserved, so WWE quietly buried the gimmick rather than the man. Wright reinvented himself twice more, first as Kama, then as The Godfather, a pimp-themed comedy act, one of the strangest pivots in wrestling history. Same performer, 3 nightmares, 1 surprisingly long career. Number 5 earns its place honestly because Leon White, known as Vader, wasn't scary because of a costume. He was scary because he was real. A former NFL lineman turned monster heel in Japan and WCW, Vader hit like a car crash. In a 1994 match in Germany, a stiff punch tore part of Mick Foley's ear off, and Foley kept wrestling anyway. When Vader reached WWF in 1996 to feud with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, fans got a big man who could genuinely hurt you, not just act like he might. His WWF run underwhelmed next to his WCW dominance, and he was released in 1998, but Japan welcomed him back as a legend. Failing health, including chronic lung disease, caught up with him. He died in 2018, one of the last truly dangerous men to step into a ring. Number 4 is one of wrestling's most uncomfortable success stories. James Harris played Kamala, the Ugandan giant, a face-painted savage marketed with deeply racist undertones, despite Harris being from Mississippi and never setting foot in Uganda. He terrified crowds through the 80s and 90s, feuding with Hulk Hogan and even Andre the Giant. The gimmick that made him famous also exploited him, and Harris later admitted it embarrassed him. Diabetes cost him both legs in the early 2010s, and medical bills piled up fast. Former rivals, including Mick Foley, organized fundraisers for his care, and Harris, by then a devout Christian, spoke openly about forgiveness. He died in August 2020, existing health problems compounded by COVID-19. Number 3 is the one that still doesn't feel real. Wyndham Rotunda, grandson of wrestling legend Blackjack Mulligan, debuted the Wyatt family in 2012 as Bray Wyatt, a backwoods cult leader preaching from a rocking chair by candlelight. It was genuinely unsettling television, feuding with John Cena, and headlining against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31 in 2015. Years later, he became The Fiend, a masked horror villain who won the Universal Championship in 2019. Behind the character was a quiet family man with health issues few fans knew about. In 2023, complications from a heart condition worsened by a prior COVID-19 infection took his life at 36, off camera, without warning, without a script. Number 2 might be the most successful monster gimmick ever built, and it's still walking around in a suit today. Glenn Jacobs debuted as Kane in 1997, the storyline half-brother of The Undertaker. His face supposedly scarred and his parents killed in a fire Undertaker allegedly caused. The mask, the silence, the fireballs, all of it made Kane one of the most bankable monsters WWE ever built. A former world champion who lasted over 2 decades on the roster. Off-camera, Jacobs held an economics degree and a reputation as one of the sharpest minds in any locker room. In 2018, he was elected mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, and voters re-elected him in 2022. Somehow the man who once threw fire at his own storyline brother now approves municipal budgets. Number 1, obviously, is Mark Calaway, because no character on this list defined an era the way The Undertaker did. Debuting at Survivor Series in 1990 under manager Paul Bearer, the Deadman gimmick was supposed to be a short-term novelty. Instead, it became the backbone of WWE programming for 3 decades, surviving casket matches, buried alive matches, and a Ministry of Darkness storyline dark enough to make censors nervous. His WrestleMania streak, 21 matches deep, became appointment viewing every spring, and when Brock Lesnar finally ended it in 2014, the silence in that arena became one of the loudest moments in wrestling history. Calaway guarded the character's mystique so fiercely that fans struggled to separate man from myth. When he stepped away around 2020, it didn't feel like retirement. It felt like a funeral, fittingly, for a character who spent 30 years pretending he'd already died. 7 different men, 7 different nightmares, and almost none of the fear stayed confined to the ring. Some of these performers built empires, others built quieter, better lives once the paint came off. One simply ran out of time before the story got the ending everyone assumed it would get. That's the strange thing about wrestling's scariest characters. The costumes were fiction, but almost everything underneath them was painfully, permanently real.